Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. How are you today? Hope you're all doing well. How are you today? Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? Hope you're all doing well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Happy weekend. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. How are you today? If this is your first time seeing me, I'm Cecilia, and on today's video, hello, hi, Kulani, how are you? Hello, how are you today? Hope you're doing well. Where are you watching from? Let us know where you're watching from. If this is your first time seeing me, I'm Cecilia, and I'm broadcasting live from London, England. Yes, I'm broadcasting live from England, and it's 12:37 here today. Where are you watching from, Kulani? Where are you watching from? How are you today? On today's episode, we are going to be talking about signs that you need to leave your company. These are some of the signs that if you notice that you're going through any of these things, if you are having any of these issues, if you are actually online now checking on how to leave your job, then you should leave your job. Like if you're online trying to find out how to leave your current job, then you shouldn't be there. Hello, hi. Oh, Kulani from Botswana. I would love to visit Botswana. Hello from Romania. How are you, Capra? From Romania. How are you today? Good morning, good afternoon. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Kulani, I'd love to. I have a friend from Botswana, but I lost communication with her some years back. You know, how are you? Yeah, hello, BMB, how are you? Where are you watching from? Kindly let me know where you're watching from today, please. You know, today we are going to be talking about signs you should quit your job immediately. If you are going through the things that we are going to be talking about today, then you should quit your job. If you are online, yes, Bang and the Best Group. How are you today? Hope you're doing well, Bang and the Best Group. How are you? Where are you watching from? Yes, today, because the other day we talked about co-workers not being your friends, that your co-workers are not your friends. You know, so I think we should just end this week, like close on things you should know, signs that you should, when you how do I put it, you know, signs you should quit your job. You know, signs you should quit your job if you are facing some of the things I'm going to be talking about today. If you are going through some of the things we are going to be talking about today, you know, then I think you should quit your job. And if you're online at any point in time, if you are online finding out how to quit your job, you understand, if you're online on YouTube typing how do I quit my job, then you shouldn't be there. You know, it's good to have a good job, it's good to work. However, it's good to work, it's good to be friendly at work. It's very important that you like where you work, and it's very important that your work environment is very conducive for you, because you spend 8 to 12 hours a day at work. So if you are crying on your way to work, I'll share some stories from friends and some of my own personal stories as well. If you are crying to work, like if you're on your way to work and you're crying, like you're shedding, you're crying like because you don't want to go to work, and if you cry after work, like you go to work and after work you're like, oh my God, today's over, today's over, oh my God, I don't want to come here tomorrow, then you shouldn't be going to that job. You should find a way. Your health is more important than that job. I remember that there was a time I had a job in inner London. I went for that job. I'm sure I was just tired. I was drained. Sometimes it's the bosses that we have at work. Some of them would not let you have peace. You know, have you ever worked somewhere where the boss will come and talk to you in front of other employees? If you have completed a project and you did not do it to the best of your boss's expectations, they should contact you in private and discuss and talk to you about the project. They should not give your feedback in front of other employees, especially during lunch break. Your boss is giving your feedback, you've carried out work, and your feedback is supposed to be between you and your boss. The boss should go like, this is what you did, Celia. This is what I think you should improve on this. Not in front of everyone. Sometimes it's really not fair, and when you talk to them or when you tell them and they don't listen and they keep doing it, it's not funny anymore. You work somewhere and every time you don't get something right, everyone at work knows about it. No, it shouldn't be like that. Sometimes it's the bosses. People sometimes, as Simon Sinek once said, people don't quit their jobs, people quit their bosses. Sometimes it's the bosses at work that just make your life miserable. Sometimes the bosses at work will make your life miserable. So please, if you are crying on your way to work every day, you're sad on your way to work every day because you don't want to go, not because you don't like your profession, but because you don't want to be in that space, that workspace, then you should start looking for another job. Look for another job, because you cannot work in a place where you don't like to be in. You cannot work in a toxic environment, an environment that you hate to go to. How can you work somewhere for 8 hours every day and you hate to go to that very place? So please, if this is, yes, okay, Bang and the best group says, I'm from Azerbaijan. Ooh, good to know. How are you? So please, 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 if you are working somewhere where you cry to and from work, then you shouldn't be going to that job. You should look for alternative employment. Look for alternative employment and quit that job. Your health is more important than any job. I worked somewhere, and I developed palpitation because of the work environment. It took me some time, but I quit when I realized that it was every time I went to work, something was not right every time I went to work. It was the workspace. The environment was just too toxic, So I had to quit the job. Sometimes when the environment is not right, when that workspace is toxic, you have to look for alternative employment. Do not stay there and think, especially if you've stayed there for some time and things are not changing. Please look for alternative alternative employment. Hi guys, how are you today? Hope you're all doing well. On today's episode, we are talking about signs you need to leave your company. If you see these signs, if you are going through some of the things we are going to be discussing here today, please do leave your company. No job is worth your health. No job is worth your health. If you are working in a toxic environment and you are crying after work, you cry before work, you cry during lunch break, you're always crying, you're very unhappy, you need to leave that job. You cannot stay there because your health is important. You need to stay alive to work. It's different when you don't like your career. When you don't like your career, you might go, oh, it's because of my career, I want to change and do something else. That is different. But if it's the job itself, like your company where you work, then you have to seek for alternative employment elsewhere. Please, if you need to go and see a doctor because you're so stressed up by your boss, tell me, please. Tell me on the comment section below. If you're so stressed up by your boss, your supervisor, day in, day out, so much so that you have to see your doctor for stress, for workplace stress, do you think that it's worth the trouble? Is your health, is that job worth you giving your health? Like, your health is important. You cannot stay in an environment where your health is up and down because of the job, not because you have health issue. It's because of the job. It's because of work stress. Please make sure you do something about it. Hello guys, how are you today? Happy Friday, happy weekend. How are you today? And where are you watching from? How are you today? If today is your first time seeing me, I'm Cecilia. On this channel, we talk about fashion. I love fashion. We talk about fashion, we talk about relationships, and we just talk about life, And sometimes I come here once in a while and talk about work-related issues because I work in HR. I've been working in HR for some time now. So I come here sometimes and talk about work-related issues, So please, if you work somewhere where the culture of the organization is toxic, the workplace culture is toxic, please, it's either there's problem between you and this colleague, you're settling gossips here and there, things are happening, the whole culture is so toxic, is this one talking about this one, things are happening that you don't like, that you're not happy with. You said something during lunch break, it was just something you said with no hard feelings, you're getting trouble because of that. You need to start thinking of seeking alternative employment, Yeah, like in some companies, my friend worked somewhere and she wasn't allowed. I couldn't believe when she said it. She said, I wasn't allowed to go to the loo. You had to take permission to go to the loo, like to go to the toilet. You had to take permission. Do you work in organizations like that where you have to look for the supervisor to take permission in order to go to the toilet? Before going to the toilet, you have to take permission from the supervisor. And as a lady, she said that that even when she had her other things going, she had to go and take permission from the boss before going. So she would tell them what she was going to do in the loo, in the toilet. And I'm like, you want to go to the toilet, you go to the toilet. You have to take and they'll give you time, like 2 minutes, 1 minute. What if you have to spend more time in the toilet? It's toilet. You don't know how much it's the loo, you don't know how much you're going to spend there, how much time you're going to spend there. So Do you work in a toxic environment? You know, have you gone through some of the things we've talked about so far? And if you have, how did you cope with them? Please, if you're working in a toxic environment where your health is playing up because of your job, I personally think you should look for alternative employment, because no work, no job is worth your health. Your health is very important. If you cannot go to that work anymore, if you cannot go to that work tomorrow, you will be replaced ASAP. You will be replaced as soon as possible. So no work is worth your health. Work, there are places, there are companies where you would work and you would be so happy to work. I've worked in certain companies that I just loved so much. You know, there are some companies that you work in, that you want to go to work, you miss work. You want to work somewhere where you miss your job. When you're on holiday, you call them. Have you ever worked in a place where you are on holiday and you miss your colleagues so much, you miss your work environment so much, and the colleagues and everyone, that you have to call them? How are you guys? Hope you're all doing well. You know, that is where you want to work. You don't want to work in a place where you are stressed out day in, day out by your manager, by your boss. And when you try to work things out with them, they really don't care. You know, they keep giving you feedback in front of everyone. You've done your job. You know, you've done your job, and you've done your job. We all know that when you do your job, every now and then you get feedback from your manager. Let your manager give you feedback in private, not in front of everyone. And when you communicate it with your manager and they don't listen and they keep doing it, and you feel bad about it, you're not happy, you talk to them. You know, some bosses are terrible. You know, some bosses are so terrible. Some of them, I think, are narcissists. It's like they come to work to release, like to just put pressure on people. They really don't care how you feel, you know. So please, if you when your boss makes you feel as if nothing you do is good enough all the time, then you shouldn't be there. If nothing you do in that company is good enough for your boss and it's all the time, then you shouldn't be there, because it's constant pressure on you. Do you need that pressure? No, you don't. You don't need that pressure, especially when they tell you something and you correct it and you try and do your best, and they're always like, it's not good enough, and they would shout at you. Some bosses will shout at you in front of people. I've seen it. They would shout at you in front of people. They would talk anyhow. You know, should you be there? Is it worth it? Because think about your health. Your health is your wealth. So if you are working somewhere where your boss, where your manager talks to you anyhow, doesn't respect you, then I think you shouldn't be there. What do you think? If you're watching me, what do you think? Have you worked in an environment where your manager, your boss, you know, your manager or your boss, you know, has not been the best? Because some bosses are terrible. Some managers, you know. Yes, Cameron King. Yes, if you're working somewhere where you are unhappy, where you cry on your way to work. If you cry on your way to work and after work and during break, you shouldn't be there. You should not be there. Nothing is your work is not more important than your health. because very soon it's going to be anxiety. You're going to work, you're shaking, you know, you don't want to be there. When the boss walks in, you're shaking. I've seen people shaking when the boss gets in. You're working somewhere and your boss comes in and you're like shaking, like, you know, some people even go as far as developing anxiety because of the boss. So if you're working in that kind of an environment, I don't think you should be there, because sooner or later you would develop something. You would have to start going to the hospital and things like that, you know. So please, these are some of the signs, you know. That's the first thing we're going to be talking about today when we are done with this. And yeah, so that is another thing. So if your boss is terrible, please think of quitting the job. Look for alternative employment. You know, you have some wonderful employers out there. You have some workplaces with excellent work culture. You don't want to work in a toxic environment where there's a lot of people gossips, there are a lot of things are happening, you know, people are just things are happening that shouldn't be happening. You know, you have to take permission to go to the loo. You have to take permission to, you know, for some little things that are normal that people do, you have to take permission to do. Because my friend had to stop, because every time she had to use the loo, she would have to take permission to go to the loo. That was the first time. I had never heard of something like that. You know, if you're working on the till or something, that is different, because you need someone to come and cover. You can call your boss. But if you're not working on the till or somewhere where you need someone to come and, you know, carry on working, you know, you can, I mean, like, take permission, like, every time, you know, and they tell you how long you have to stay there. I don't know where she was working, but she told me, she said she stopped the job because of that. She said no, that she couldn't work there anymore because because of the culture of that job. So please, 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 please. Sometimes some people go to work, and every time they're on their way to work, they feel unwell. Do you feel unwell every time you think about your job, your company? Because okay, sometimes, most times, on Sundays, especially Sunday evenings, everyone is like, oh my God, tomorrow is Monday. We all do it, don't we? When it's Sunday, when it's Saturday, we all enjoy, and when it's Sunday, we are like, oh my God. Sunday 9 o'clock, you're like, oh my God, I have to go to work tomorrow. I have to catch the train up to London. But then that is okay, you love your job, and then it's Monday, you go to work, and Tuesday you're happy again, you're meeting your colleagues, you know, you're happy at work, you love your work. That is good, you know. It's just the Sunday evening, is that Sunday, you know, Sunday everyone is thinking of Monday, oh my goodness, you know. But then if you work somewhere where every day is the same, Monday you don't want to go, Tuesday you feel unwell, Wednesday, you know, you're developing palpitation, Thursday it's anxiety, Friday you have to see your GP because of work related stress, please, I think you should do something about it. Do something about it. Don't stay there. And if you're online looking for ways to quit your job, how to quit your job, you know, and if you're on YouTube right now, watching YouTube videos every day on how to quit your job, then you should quit your job. If you're on YouTube right now, that was a joke, please. Right, that was a joke, you know. If you're going on YouTube, you know, watching how to quit your job, then you should quit your job. Please quit and look for alternative employment. Quit. You know, your mental health is far more valuable than any job. Your mental health is far more valuable than any job. Am I saying we should work? However, if you think that your work environment is toxic, you shouldn't be there. if you think that you're so stressed out at work that you cry when you think about work, on your way to work, on your way from work, and during lunch break, I think you should seek alternative um, employment. Don't stay there, because sometimes we think, oh, maybe the boss will change, maybe things will change. You've been there for 6 months, 1 year, and your health is going down. When you find out that your health is going down um, because of work-related stress, if you find out that your health is going down because of work-related stress, I think you should seek for alternative employment and leave that place. You are not planted there. If it's your company, you will be able to know how to work things out. If it's not your company, you should go and seek for alternative employment. Don't sit there and cry every day. It's not worth it, you know. It's not worth it. Not at all. You know, you remember you got hired once, you will be hired again. You can get hired again. You got hired, you can always get hired. Why do you think you will not get an alternative? You will. Look for something else, because you're not happy where you are. Do you want to stay in a place where you're not happy? Another thing is safety. Some companies will ask you to do jobs that you need equipment to do without those equipment, because they don't have this equipment, sometimes because the equipments are broken. For example, anything manual handling. You have to handle something and you need equipment, and the company does not have those equipment, and you have to hurt your back. Sometimes it's the back. You have to do things. You have to carry heavy things. You know, you have to do certain tasks at work that need certain equipment, but the company does not have them. I remember once I was working somewhere, and this guy was asked to do something that he could not do. But because he looked physically fit, he was asked to do something. Do you know that something like what he was carrying actually fell on his leg, and he had to stay home for about a week? That wasn't safety, because the boss, I was there, the boss wanted him to do it very fast. You know, it was all about the time. The equipment, it's not like the equipments were there, he could use them, but the boss was like, you know what, you can just carry it. You know, you're strong enough to carry it. And he carried it, you know, even without thinking. Very heavy. He carried it, and then the thing just went on his leg. You know? So sometimes when it comes to your safety, no, you have to stop. Some bosses, some managers will go, oh, you can just carry it. Oh, you can just do it. It will take 5 minutes. You know, it will take 10 minutes. You know, that guy actually he went to hospital. He had to get that sorted out. He stayed for about a week. He stayed away from work for about a week just because of that. Hi, Priska, how are you? Just because of that. So your safety at work is very important, you know. Yeah, I remember you. I remember you, Priska. But it's been a while now. Where have you been? So please, where have you been? Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. It's good to have you back here. How have you been? Let us know how you've been, Priska. So safety at work, your safety is important. No job is worth you risking your life. Don't risk your life because you want to make your manager happy. Because most of the times it's you making your manager happy. Because your manager will go, oh, you can just carry, and they'll say, oh, you can just carry it. Oh, you're fit enough to carry that. And you would go, oh, let me just carry it. Sometimes because we want to please the manager, you will do something that you know you cannot do physically, and you end up hurting your back, especially when it comes to handling, manual handling. It could be in care. You know, when you have to handle, you need the hoist and all that. You need equipment to handle, you need the hoist or different equipment to handle people, to handle things. You need the forklift and things like that. So if your employer is telling you, oh, we can just do it fast, or you can just do it fast, you know, or in cases where the equipment are broken and the managers think, oh, because you're strong enough, you can do it, or because they think you can do it, they will delay repairing the equipment. You have to stand up and say, you know what, we cannot do this job without this equipment, because you will end up hurting your back. You will end up hurting your back. No job is worth you risking your life, risking your limb, risking your leg. No job is worth it. Remember that you are replaceable at work. If anything should go wrong at work, and if you should handle something that you know that you shouldn't be handling, you know, like that, like carrying something heavy, you know that it's heavy, you shouldn't be doing that, and you do it, and something goes wrong with you, then you have only yourself to blame. Because if you have a bad back, it could be for a long time. So you have only yourself to blame. You have to use the equipment that you should be using. Don't do any manual or physical handling because you want to please your boss, especially. I know sometimes this happens a lot. A lot of people want to please their boss. But you do that, you hurt your back, you have only yourself to blame. No work is worth risking your life or your limb or your head or any part of your body. Use the necessary equipment. It's so important. It's important. Please, it's important. This one is important. It's your safety. Your safety is important. Your mental health is important at work. Your mental health is so important at work. Because sometimes especially when you have, it was Simon Sinek who said that people don't quit their jobs, they quit their bosses. Sometimes it's because we want to please our bosses, isn't it? Because we want to please our bosses, we want to please our managers. We do things that we know that we shouldn't be doing, that it's not, that we should not be doing. Especially when it comes to safety. Your boss will just go, oh, lads, you can carry that. You know, oh, you're strong enough, you can carry that. And you know you're going to hurt your back. But you do it because the manager says you should do it. He's right there. He says you should do it. Maybe if you don't do it, they would go, oh, I thought you were strong, you know, and things like that. And sometimes men want to be men. They'll just go, yeah, I'll carry it. And then you end up, you know, hurting your back, your leg, and things like that. So please, again, please don't do that. Another thing is, if your company is asking you to do something that is not legal, to cover them. You know, sometimes when you work in HR or you work within the organization, they might ask you to do something. It might be small, but you know that it's not legal to do. Don't do it. Don't do it, because then it's your reputation on the line. Especially when it comes to certain jobs. Okay, let's say when I was working in an agency, there are certain things that you should not do. Let's say you're working somewhere as an architect, and there is a building that you should not sign off. And then your manager goes, yeah, but we can just sign it off. You know, it's just that one thing. You shouldn't sign it off, because it's your reputation and your number at risk. It's your reputation at risk. There are certain things you should not do wherever you're working. If it's not legal, do not do it. Your manager might say, oh, you just do it. It's us. You know, it's us. You know, you might think, oh, yes, it's us. Let me just do it. Think about that before. It's like with every job. It could be, you could be the accountant in the company. You could be the architect in the company. You could be, don't do something that you think it's illegal. Don't break the law because you want to keep your manager happy. You're working somewhere, you know what to do, what not to do. You know that there are certain things that should you do them, your reputation will be on the line. Remember, your reputation is important. That job, if that job is not there tomorrow, you would have to go somewhere else and get a job. And if you have done something that is against the law for that organization, and the organization is not there anymore, and it's in your records that you did something, CBR, you will check CBR, you have those checks that you check. If they check and find that you did something for that organization that was not legal, you might end up never getting a job in that particular field. You could be a nurse somewhere, you do something, you know, and you break the law somehow, it's there in your record, it's there in your record. So it's your reputation on the line. Don't put your reputation on the line for any employer, because remember, you're just that one person, and you're replaceable. If you do something for the organization, if you help them do something which is not binding, you know, and especially when it's not on your contract, you shouldn't be doing it. It's not on your contract, it's not legal, you know, you're breaking the law for the company, it's not your company. Even if it's your company, don't do it. Your reputation is important. So remember that. You're doing it for an organization, remember that. Do not do it. Hi guys, how are you today? Let us know where you're watching from, please. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Where are you watching from today? Let us know. Are you working somewhere where your boss is not very nice? How do you remember? Always remember that your co-workers are not your friends. They are your co-workers, your colleagues. You have to be friendly with your co-workers, colleagues, but they are not your friends. So please, I've outlined, I think I've outlined about 6 signs that you should know, that we should all know. So if you spot these signs, know that it's time for you to quit your job. Quit the job and look for alternative employment. Don't stay there. Your health is important. Nothing is worth, you know, nothing is worth your health. Your health is so important that you cannot stay somewhere where your health is being that you cannot stay somewhere where, how do I put it? You cannot stay in you cannot stay somewhere working where you know that because you're working in that place, because of the toxic because of the toxic nature of the work and the work environment, you are falling ill, you're constantly unwell, you're constantly unhappy, you know, please look for alternative employment if this is happening to you. If this is you, if the culture is toxic, if your work culture is toxic, look for alternative employment. You know, that kind of a place where you work, and once you walk into the room, everyone start laughing. You don't know why, you know, just because you do your work and you go home, not because you're not friendly, and you really don't understand, you know. There's a lot when it comes to workplace politics and workplace, you know, the culture of the workplace in general. There are a lot of things you have to take into consideration. However, if you're working somewhere and you don't feel that place, that workplace, that space, you know, is a place where you can be for 8 hours a day, you're not comfortable being there for 8 hours a day, then you should look for alternative arrangement. Sometimes is you being overworked. Are you working somewhere where you are overworked? Sometimes the boss will know that you're 8 people working. 2 people are extremely slow. And the boss will get the other 6 of you. The boss will overwork the other 6 of you. Sometimes it's 2 people slow and you. And the boss will get you to work too much, and you know that you all have to be doing the same amount of work, but then you are overworked because your colleague is too slow. Is that fair on you? No. Or sometimes you work somewhere and you are just overworked. They know that you can do the work, so they just keep doing it, they keep pushing it, and you're just like, you've worked, you're tired, it's 6 o'clock, they're like, can you just do overtime? And you're like, I'm tired, I can't. And they go, you know you can do it. And then because it's your boss, you go, oh, okay, let me just do it. But you know that, you know what, you're so tired that you cannot even stand up. Sometimes it's happens. It happens to me that they'll get you to overwork, like, because they know you can do it. They'll go, and you know you're tired. I almost fainted, like I almost passed out some time ago, because you know sometimes you just want to do it to please the boss. I don't know if you've been there. I have been there. Sometimes you just want to do it to please the boss. They go, can you do it? Come on, Celia, please. And you just go, okay, I'll do it. Meanwhile, you know you're tired. You cannot. So please, if you're working somewhere where you are being overworked, you know that you can feel it in your bones that you are being overworked. You love your job, yes, but like they're pushing it. And you feel, you know what, I cannot anymore. Look for alternative employment. You have to do it. No one will do it for you. We have to look after ourselves. You have to look after yourself. We all want to work in a place where we are happy going to. We all want to work in a place where we are being respected by our bosses. You don't want to work somewhere where you go to the lunch room or to the canteen, and your boss is there, and you're like, oh my goodness, he's there, and you go and eat in the locker room. It happens. A lot of people would go into the canteen and they would find out that their boss is there or their supervisor, and they would just go to the locker room and have their food there. Some of us have been there. If you've been there, we all have been. Something must have happened to you, you know, somewhere during your work life. Either you're going through it right now, or you must have gone through it at some point. But at least in your lifetime working, you must have had that one boss that you're like, oh my goodness, he's there now. I really don't want to sit there, because he's just gonna go, have you done the work? Have you completed the work? You know, the 3rd paragraph wasn't right. You had to do it like this. But come on, it's break time. I'm having my lunch. Excuse me, can we just do it in the office? And they'll go, okay, yeah, but you don't speak to your boss like that. But then you're like, so you don't want to go in the canteen when the boss is there. So you rather go to your locker room and just have your lunch there because you're avoiding him. If you're working in an environment like that, I think you shouldn't be there. You should look for alternative employments. You shouldn't work in a place where you're not respected. It's important that you are respected at work. You respect your boss. You speak to him in a respectful, or her, if it's a woman, him or her. You speak to your boss in a respectful manner. You respect your boss. You do your work. Of course, when we do work, we expect feedback. You want feedback. You want to know how you're doing, what is not right, how you can do things better next time. However, there's a way of doing everything. You can't come and give me feedback during lunch break. I just get there. Oh, I was looking for you, Oh, good, you're here. No, it is not done like that. Excuse me, this is my break time, But most of the time we can't say it. We don't say it. you know, because that's the boss. You don't say it. If it's your break time, it's your break time. And someone like me, I would tell you that, you know what, I'll tell you, I will not say it there. I'll let you have your time, have your fun with me in front of everyone, you know, just come on. That is, it's humiliating, don't you think so? I've done the work. They were all not there. It was between us in the office. So why are you giving me feedback in front of everyone? It's not on. It's not on. So I might not tell you there and then, but I'll tell you. I'll call your attention to it. Excuse me, madam or sir, please, during break, can I just have my break? Can I just have my lunch? And if you have to give me feedback, wait when I'm in the office, you know, just keep your feedback to yourself. Just wait until I'm in the office, then you can give my feedback. You can tell me what I did not do right, how I can do things better next time. Don't come and tell me during lunch break when everyone else is there. It's not funny. And it's my break. It's my time. My break time is my time. Sometimes we don't get to tell them, but we have to, especially when you realize that that particular boss is a narcissist. You know, they're intentionally doing it to make your life miserable at work. Some bosses are like that. They would intentionally do certain things to make your life miserable. They're so happy making your life miserable. And if you can't stand up for yourself and go, you know what, this is my break time, I'm having lunch, can you just wait and let's discuss this after break in the office? They would go, okay. Okay, then, and you have to, when they come to your desk to speak to you or to have that conversation, you have to tell them that, you know what, please, when it's my break time, I don't want to talk about work. And can we just agree, you know, that when you're giving me feedback, it's my feedback. It's not for the whole, everyone having lunch. You're not giving feedback to the whole organization. It's my feedback. Wait, come to my desk and give my feedback. Or call for me to come to your office or your desk and collect feedback from you. Not during break. It's my break time. You know, but so if you are working somewhere where this has happened not once, not twice, and you've told your boss that, you know what, come on, it's my break, it's my time, you know, and I don't like it when you give feedback in public, especially during my lunch break. Everyone else is there. You can't be giving me feedback in the middle of my dinner, in the middle of my break, when everyone is there. I'm just trying to relax. If you do that, you have that conversation with your boss, and they don't respect it. They don't respect it because they do not want to respect it. So what should you do? Look for alternative employment somewhere else. You cannot work somewhere where you're not respected. Especially when you give respect, you respect your boss, you know, you don't shout, you do your work, you know, you receive feedback in a nice way, you receive feedback and you work on it, you know, then you should go, okay, I've done all I can here, and since the boss is never happy with whatever you do, then you should look for alternative employment. You know, your health is important. You know, your health is so important. You cannot stay in a place where your health keeps going up and down. You keep going to the GP, you keep going to the doctor, you keep having palpitation, you keep having anxiety. When you see your boss, you just go, oh my God, he's here again. Oh my God. Because you know he's going to say something, and something that you don't like. So should you be there? No, seek for alternative employment. Remember that you were hired by that organization. If you got hired once, you will get hired again. Now you have got experience. You know, we want to work somewhere where, I remember working somewhere where my boss was a woman. It was a joyful place to be. I used to go to work singing like, oh, you know, because you want to see the boss. Sometimes you talk, you know, she respected everyone. She respected everyone's privacy. She spoke to everyone nicely. You know, sometimes she would even bring food. She'll bring food. She'll cook something. She'll bake something and bring it there. You know what? I baked this, and if you guys want to try, why not? You know. So we just liked going to work. You want to work in a place like that. Very friendly boss, you know, treated everyone so well. And every time she asked us to do overtime, everyone was like, yeah, I'm staying, because she was so nice. Oh, I'm staying, you know. She was so nice. You want to work with someone like that. You want that kind of a boss who is so nice. So we all did our work well, and sometimes we even did more. You know when you're working with someone, or when you're working under someone who is very, very respectful, who respects you, respects your space, should never talk about work during break. During break, we'll talk about something like holiday. We'll talk about something where we can find sunshine and nice things like that. You know, sometimes she would even go, oh, girls, don't you think we should arrange shopping one day on Saturday? You know, we could go shopping all together, you know. And some people will go, we sometimes would go, oh yeah, maybe we should do that, because she was just so friendly to everyone, and she would not accept those workplace gossips. No, she made sure the culture of that place was so good. Everyone liked working there. You know, we all liked working there. We enjoyed working with her, and it was all fun. It was work, hard work, but fun. Brain work, but fun, you know. So everyone wants to work where they are being respected, where they are being treated well, where they are being given feedback in private, not in public. So if you are working somewhere where your boss is terrible, your boss loves to make your life miserable, look for alternative employment. Don't tell them, just shock them and go, oh, you know what, in 4 weeks I will be leaving. The best way to do it is to go on holiday, and after holiday, so if you're leaving in 4 weeks, you go for holiday 6 weeks, you go there for a little bit, and then you just go, oh, I'm packing my things, I'm leaving. Especially when the boss is a narcissist. That's the worst one. You know, I've been somewhere where the boss, this guy, OMG, I think somewhere in his head, he believed somewhere in his head, or he thought somewhere in his head, that he was like something like a messiah or a master or something, you know. So please, if you work in a place like that, I remember working there, and twice I went home crying, like twice. I went home crying, and that was it. I stopped. I didn't go. I stopped. Because if you have to go to your GP because of your boss, because you're not happy at work, because you're being stressed out by your boss, you have to think of quitting. You have to quit. Quit that job. Quit that job. Hi guys, how are you doing today? Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Happy weekend. Today is Friday. It's Friday. We all love Fridays, don't we? Today is Friday. Please make sure you like, share, just subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Today we are talking about signs you should quit your job. If you're working somewhere and you notice any of these signs that we have highlighted here today, please quit that job. Remember, you were hired once, and you will always be hired. You will be hired again. Do not stay where you are being disrespected by your boss. Do not stay where your safety is not taken into consideration. You're working somewhere, you need equipment to do your work, and your boss or your manager just doesn't care about your health and safety, so much so that they would let you work without those equipments that you need for that job or to do that job. Especially if they think, or if the manager sees you and think you are strong enough to do it, you can do it. If the manager thinks you can do it without those equipments, you should know that they really don't care about your safety. And remember that should anything happen to you at work, you will be replaced like that. So if you end up developing a back, if you end up developing anxiety, palpitation, because you are so unhappy at work, sometimes you have just yourself to blame, because if you know that, when it's manual handling, I need a hoist to do that job. I need a forklift to do that, to carry that, and you're just because you think you're strong. Sometimes we do it for the managers because you want the managers to like you. You do things that you're not supposed to be doing. You carry heavy things and you're not supposed to be carrying them. But because the manager is there, and if you don't carry them, they'll go, oh, why have you left it there? And you go, I'm going to get the forklift. Oh, but it's just that one thing. You can carry it. You don't need to start the forklift, or you don't need to use the forklift just for that. You can lift it. And you know fully well that you need the forklift to lift that up. Please look after yourself at work. And if you face any of these things we have highlighted here today, please look for alternative employment. Don't stay there and keep complaining. Don't stay where the culture of the organization is so toxic that you feel drained. Every time you go to work, you feel so drained, you feel miserable, you're so unhappy, you hate your workspace, you hate going to work, but you just think, oh, let me just go. It's just one more day, one more night. And then you go again, and then again, and every time you're going down, and then you start seeing your doctor. That's the worst stage. It means you've gone to that stage of you've left it to that stage now where you have to see your doctor because you're so stressed. Please don't do it to yourself, okay? Do not do it to yourself. Remember, it's you. Remember, you're replaceable at work. Remember that no job is worth your health. Your health is so important. Your health is so important. Your health is your wealth. If you're not well, if you're not healthy, if you're not physically and mentally well, you cannot work. If you're not physically well, there are certain jobs you cannot do. So you have the responsibility, or it's your responsibility, to look after yourself, to look after your health, to take care of yourself at work, to make sure you're doing things, you're lifting things the way you should lift them, you're using the necessary equipment to do your work. And if you work somewhere and the equipment is broken, you have to tell your boss, make sure it's repaired so you can, use them again. So, and if you're always online looking for, oh my God, how do I get another job? It means you shouldn't be working where you're working. You shouldn't be in that place. If it's because of you don't like your career, if you go, I'm fed up of this career, I'm fed up of being whatever you're doing. You could be a supervisor somewhere, or you could be working in HR and you go, I'm just tired of doing this recruitment, selection, training, development. It depends on what you're doing. You could go, I'm just tired of this now, I want to do something else. Oh, I'm going into teaching. Or you have always loved to do something else, and you just want to, you're fed up of your present career and you want to change to something else, that is completely different. But if you're working somewhere where your boss is so disrespectful, it's the bosses sometimes. Sometimes that's so disrespectful. You don't just want to work there. Sometimes they'll make your life miserable. And the worst of it is if you have a boss who gossips. Oh my God. If you have a boss who is a gossip, it's just the worst boss you can ever have. Because then the whole workplace is so toxic. It's all about this one said this one said that, and there's always that one. And most of the time, the workplace gossip, if there's just that one, they're always close to the boss, because they're the ones giving the boss every information. And in most workplaces, you have that one person who is so close to the boss, who gives the boss every information about that, every information, even if the boss does not ask. You always have that person. That is what I've come to realize. You always have that one person at work. Do you have that person at work? That one person who takes it upon themselves to feed the boss with everything happening back scene, even things that the boss is not meant to know. You know, even things that happen in your locker room, you're like, but how did the boss get to know this? He wasn't here, or she wasn't here. She doesn't get dressed here. We were just here. You know, those little things that, you know, things that just go, or things that happen in the dressing room, and then the boss hears about it, and you're like, who keeps telling the boss everything that happens back scene? There's always that one person at work who feeds the boss with every information, with everything happening within that organization or back scene, you know. So I'll just go back. Let's just quick recap. Let's just go back through the points, and then we can say our goodbyes, and we'll see on Monday. So today, if you're just joining, hello, how are you? Good afternoon, how are you? Let us know where you're watching from. And if there are any topics you'd like us to talk about, let me know on the comment section below so we can talk about them. I'm happy to talk about different things. So if there are any topics you'd like us to talk about, let us know on the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, please. Okay, do subscribe to the channel. On this channel, we talk about fashion, we talk about relationships, and we talk about general things that happen in life, things on a daily basis. For example, today we are talking about employment, and I'm talking about this because I worked in HR. I actually have an HR background. I have a degree in HR, so that's why we're talking about this. So every now and then we'll talk about employment and things related to employment and the workforce and all that, you know. So on today's episode, we are talking about signs you should quit your job. So if you're working somewhere and you notice these signs that we have highlighted and we are going to be talking about here again, please quit your job. If you are online or if you're on YouTube at any point in time looking for how to quit my job, you know, how to quit my job, how to write a resignation letter, you know, then you shouldn't be working where you're working. It means that place is not for you, you know. And most of the times it's the boss. It's either the bosses at work that make employees quit, because when your boss is reasonable, respectful, thoughtful, you know, and you would stay there, you would be there because you know, okay, there is someone you can talk to, especially when they're reliable, you can talk to them. But sometimes people quit not because they don't like their jobs. Sometimes it's because of the boss that you have. Sometimes when your boss is terrible, you don't want to stay there. You're like, oh my goodness, no. Some bosses are terrible. You don't want to work in an organization where the boss is terrible, where they are very disrespectful. They talk to you anyhow, and in an organization where the culture is toxic, the boss becomes like a messiah. He becomes, because he's been doing it for so long. He's been disrespectful for so long, and no one has ever challenged him. He's not been challenged. He's not been told not to talk like that. He's been doing it. And because people are like, oh my God, he's here again. And because he's made everyone around him so scared of him, so scared of voicing out their opinions, so scared of telling him how they really feel. Now he's used to. Now he's used to. He's gotten to that point where he just comes to work and talks to anyone, anyhow. So if you're working somewhere where your boss just talks to you anyhow, and you've called his attention to it, you're like, you know what? There's no respect here. I'm not going to take it. And he carries on. Please, if you cannot deal with it, look for alternative employment. Just play the card, play your cards well, because you will need, how do you call it? You would need, when you're looking for employment, you might need them to write a review for you. You might need them to write something for you. You might need you might need some sort of help from them. So please make sure you make sure, just play your card well, be friendly, nice, whilst looking for alternative employment. If you're not happy with them, if it's gotten to the point where you cannot even stand that workplace anymore, you have to leave. No workplace is worth your health. Your health is so important. Please leave. If your boss is disrespectful, leave. If they don't respect you, they talk to you in the lunch room, in the canteen, anyhow, because they think I can speak to anyone here the way I think, then you should look for alternative employment. You don't want to fight with anyone. I recommend that if you want to leave any job, please make sure you leave on a high. Don't fight, don't argue, don't start fighting with colleagues, don't start fighting who said that, who did not say that. No, just keep your cool, look for work somewhere else and move. Look for work somewhere else and move. Don't stay there. Don't stay there, and because your health is important, your health is important. And sometimes when you're crying, that is emotional energy. Your emotional energy is not meant to be wasted at work. Your emotional energy is for your family and your home and your private life. So if you start crying at work, your boss is making you cry, you're sad at work, you're developing palpitation, anxiety, when your boss walks in, you're like, oh my goodness, your heart starts racing like a racing car. If you have a boss like Moody Margaret, oh my God, do you know Moody Margaret? If you have a boss like Moody Margaret, you have to look for if you have a boss like Moody Margaret, you have to look for alternative employment. You cannot work somewhere where your boss is always moody, where it's always like there's trouble when there's no trouble. The boss is always looking for faults. They would never praise you for doing your work well. However, if there's a little mistake, they will highlight the mistake. They would come and say it in the dining room, so everyone should know you made a mistake. Please seek for alternative employment. Please, you're there to work, and you spend most of your time at work. Remember, we spend 8 hours. You spend 8 hours at work every day. Some people spend 12 hours. 12 hours at work. So you want to work in a place where you're being respected, you're not tolerated, you're respected. you're being respected. They respect you for the work that you do, you know, and things like that. Please, 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 don't stay where, you know. And even when it comes to you having issues with co-workers, when you have issues with co-workers, look for a way and resolve them amicably. Look for a way and resolve issues by yourself. You have to be very diplomatic at work in order for you to just keep your peace, you know. However, if it's toxic for you, if you don't think you can stay there, if you don't think you're happy working there, then you have to seek for alternative employment. You can, I'm not saying you should quit your job when you don't have another job. What I'm trying to say is you can start looking for a job whilst you're just there. You know, in your head, you know that, you know what, I can't be here anymore. So whilst looking for alternative employment, you will just be there and manage and see what you can do. However, if you've got savings and you think, you know what, I've got something in my account, I have to leave this place because I can't, my health is, I'm really getting to a very bad place right now. Leave, please leave. If you think your work is pushing you to a place that you don't want to be, especially your boss, it's the bosses, they don't listen, do they? They just talk anyhow. Some of them, not all of them, there's some amazing bosses. Actually, I've had just one very bad, terrible, horrible, you know, moody boss in my entire existence. I've had one very, I saw him once. He was looking at me. I just walked past. Like, I couldn't even say hello. Like I just looked at him and going, oh my, I just went. Sometimes you don't even want to, because they remind you of no. You want to work with someone who respects you. If you work with someone who does not respect you, you'll be thinking, I'm doing the work. I'm here to work. I'm not your, we are not family. We are here to work. We are okay. It's one work family. If you want to say it's a work family, okay, it's a work family, but you're not treating us like work family. You're not treating, you just talk, you know. And I think my boss, the one I'm talking about, was a narcissist, because it wasn't just me. So he wasn't picking on me. I would not say he was picking on me. He wasn't picking on me. He was like that with everyone. He was like that, and I just went, you know what, I can't take it. I can't take it. And he would do that, and then later go, oh my God, how are you? He would try to, you know, to fix things, but then he would do it again, you know. So it's like he'll fix it now and then do it again tomorrow and then try to fix it. Oh, you know, you did the work so well. Now this is in private, but in public, you didn't talk about the good part of the work that I did. You talked only about what I did not do right, and it was in the canteen, you know. So I think we have gone through all the points. If there's anything you'd like us to discuss on this channel, let me know, or let us know so we can talk about them at some point. I'm not live over the weekend. I don't come on live over the weekend, but I will be here again on Monday, same time, 12:30 in the afternoon, London time. You haven't told me where you're watching from, but I'm very happy to be sharing this platform with you. If you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. And I have shared a lot of videos on fashion, how to do scarves, different outfits, and I'll be sharing more videos on fashion. I love fashion. And we've got videos on relationships as well. I've shared loads of videos on that. Please do go on the channel and watch some of my videos. They're very interesting, interactive. And then I've shared videos on different things as well. So please go and watch my videos. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Have you subscribed? Okay, you watching me now, have you subscribed? Please go on and subscribe to the channel. Go and subscribe to have you done that? I'm waiting. And please don't forget to press on the notification bell for more videos like this, or to be notified every time I am live on Facebook, on YouTube, sorry, on YouTube. I think that is about it for today. I think we've gone through all the points. If you've got any questions, do ask. And if you've gone through anything at all that we have talked about today on this, on today's show, let us know how you resolved the issue you had at work, so we can all learn. We all want to learn, and that is why we come here and share our story or our stories. So that is about it for today. Have a fabulous weekend. Take care of yourself. Happy Father's Day to all the our lovely fathers and dads out there. Yeah, Father's Day is this weekend, isn't it? So happy Father's Day. If you're watching, happy Father's Day. If this is your birth month, happy birthday to you. And if you're a father watching me, happy Father's Day to you. Okay, have a fabulous weekend. Take care of yourself. Stay strong, stay positive, and stay around people who bring the best out of you, and people who appreciate you and your company. And with that, I will say my goodbye. And let me just acknowledge those who contributed by writing. Kulani, thanks very much. Kulani from Botswana. You have Capri from Romania. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you. You have BMB. Hello. Thanks very much, BMB from Nigeria. Thanks very much for stopping by. You have Bang and the Best Group. Thanks very much from Azerbaijan. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing your time with us. We have Python. You have Python, and then you have Cameron King. You have Priska as well. Yeah, we have Priska, and that's it. I think Priska is the last but not the least. All right, then, that is about it for today. Thanks very much for sharing your time with us today. Thank you. All the best for the weekend. Happy Father's Day. Happy weekend. And if this is your birth month, happy birthday to you. Bye, guys. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye-bye. See you on Monday, 12:30 in the afternoon, London time. Bye-bye.